Scenes from the seething streets of the Twin Cities in the wake of George Floyd's death as law enforcement attempted to quell unrest.
Rubber bullet, I'm assuming.
They shot you.
And enforce curfews.
This what y'all shooting us with?
Often firing what are known as less lethal weapons.
And I could feel the warm blood roll down my face.
Bleeding, bruised, a broken bone in her face. 21-year-old college student Grace spent Saturday night, May 30th, in the basement of a Minneapolis home being cared for by volunteer medics.
By the grace of God, it just happened to be medics there who helped me stop my bleeding and kept me there until 6 a.m. when it was safe to go out again.
She says she'd peacefully attended a protest outside 5th Precinct and left before 8 p.m. knowing the curfew started that night. But Grace, who asked we not use her last name, says after curfew, she and her boyfriend, a United States Marine reservist, were still walking to their car all alone on a side street when officers appeared and, with no warning...
It felt like I got punched in the face by the Hulk. It really did. And he yelled at them and said, "Don't shoot. You shot her in the face. Don't shoot."
She'd been hit by a less lethal round, but a round nonetheless able to maim, blind, and even kill.
The use of this kind of weapon is incredibly dangerous.
Dr. Rohini Har is an emergency medicine physician in Oakland, California. She co-authored this 2017 study, which looked at 1,984 people worldwide who saw doctors after being hit with all types of less lethal projectiles. 3% died, 15% were permanently injured.
Especially when they're misused or fired directly at people's head or face. That's when you see a lot of permanent disabilities and death.
To find out if they were misused, KARE 11 wanted to know exactly which less lethal munitions have been used during the George Floyd protests. St. Paul and Minneapolis readily made that information public. But State Patrol...
Get inside! Get in your house now! Let's go!
...responsible for scenes like this.
Light 'em up!
Targeting people standing on their own porch...
Get in the house!
claims the public doesn't have the right to know what they fired at citizens, writing to KARE 11 that it could jeopardize the best interests of public safety. I personally watched State Patrol fire this round at a car and others like it at people, often with no warning when their only obvious legal infraction at the time was being out past curfew. It's in the same category of munitions St. Paul and Minneapolis use. A website for the manufacturer describes it as a 40-millimeter crushable foam round. It comes with a warning that it can expose you to chemicals known to cause cancer and birth defects. When fired, it travels 295 feet per second. That's 201 miles per hour.
It can break bones in the face. They can often penetrate the eye and go either lodge in the brain or at least cause permanent vision loss.
According to this lawsuit filed by the ACLU, that's in fact just what happened to this press photographer while covering the Minneapolis protests. The lawsuit alleges unforewarned, indiscriminate use of riot control tactics. Minneapolis PD's use of force manual states 40-millimeter launchers are to be used for the incapacitation of an aggressive, non-compliant subject, and unless deadly force is justified, officers should avoid the delivery of 40-millimeter impact projectiles to the head, neck, throat, and chest.
I strongly believe that they were aiming for our heads.
Were you rioting? Were you committing a crime at the time?
No, sir, we were walking home.
Grace, recovering from her injuries, questions why officers use such dangerous force when her only legal infraction was being out past curfew.
And it doesn't justify the fact that I got shot at in the face. They could have arrested me. They could have fined me.